Last week, I was in Geneva at Africa Collective, the flagship annual gathering bringing together governments, financiers and investors focused on Africa's economic future. It was the perfect setting for a conversation about the African Continental Free Trade Area. The AfCFTA connects 1.3 billion people across 55 African countries, yet intra-African trade accounts for just 16% of the continent's total trade. This is compared to 70% within Europe. ITC research puts the opportunity at an additional $22 billion in trade per year by 2029. The potential is clear. The question is whether it is being realized. Dorothy Tembo is Deputy Executive Director of the International Trade Center, the joint agency of the WTO and the United Nations, and the architect of the One Trade Africa program. I spoke with her in Geneva.
Absolutely. I see where you come from in posing that last bit. But I think our approach is not only to be in Switzerland, because first and foremost, that exposure has to be both ways. The Africans have to understand the demands of the market here. They also have to know who they potentially can work with and have these conversations. I know that these processes do not allow a broad-based representation of people to come all this way. But on the reverse, we also have created spaces for Europe to come to Africa. So this will be followed up by a Swiss business team being taken to Africa to do the same. So we continue to do this. But beyond this, within the context of the work that we do as an organization, we have many other spaces which we create, where we try to facilitate exposure from both sides. So that's one part of it. Why Switzerland? Why Switzerland?
Why?
Of course, Switzerland has a specific interest in Africa as an entity. They have been able to provide support. They are already working, or they are already in processes which have seen collaboration working between Africa and Switzerland, and Europe even, on products such as chocolates, many other products that also have been. So we are more or less trying to build on that interest. I think the key here is to look more at an approach that brings to the table mutual interest to the two countries. So to the country and to the
continent.
and the continent, in the sense that, here is an opportunity for them to actually be able to come and invest in Africa. Why Africa? 1.4 billion people, with a framework that extends beyond perhaps some of the areas where they have touched as part of the regional integration initiative. What is it I'm saying? Switzerland may already be accessing, for example, West Africa as an example, because of the cocoa relationship there. I know that there have been conversations within Africa with, for instance, COMESA or SADC, but what we are saying is here is a framework that offers you beyond and consolidates all these regional integration efforts that are being made into one continental offer, which is way above what has been offered as part of the regions. Because in terms of the conversations or the negotiations, what I had understood is that the Continental Free Trade Area is regional, or REX as we often refer to them, REX Plus. Because if it was equating to the same as what was being offered before, what would have been the value? So what we are saying here is an opportunity, but that opportunity will be optimized if you actually invest in Africa. And in so doing, that we are responding to the industrialization objective of the continent, that they know that now the relationship or the strategic partnerships are shifting into ones of mutual benefit, and that in doing all this, that we are also increasing the level of trade, increasing the level of incomes, increasing the jobs for many, many Africans across the continent.